Welcome back. Like the seats of an 86 Delta 88 coupe on D's and Bones, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Going live in a minute, Blizzard King. This is Winter Dinner Spurling podcast. You are rocking with the realest black men represented. Ain't no lies, cause we winning. Catching flies, ain't no feelings. Uncle D, we the villain, baby. We just left the village, baby. Now we in them villas, baby. Dinner Spurling podcast, tuning in, we get it, baby. You can hate the player, hate the game. We love all you haters. Hate watch, hate watch. Calling lovely ladies, hands on your knees, bitch, please. You can thank us later. We snatching the crowns off of queens, we obliterate them. Tell the truth, shame the devil, they trying to eliminate us. You begging the sipping haters, peeling layers off of haters. Whoa, Southern Cadillac music like Outkast. Ain't jumping without bass. Tennis Spurling podcast. Whoa, Southern Cadillac music like Outkast. Ain't jumping without bass. Tennis Spurling podcast. Whoa.
We have to clean up what's going on in our house before we do anything else. My name is Dennis Spurling. I'm an attorney here in Houston, Texas. My mandate is to be an advocate for black men, largely because I am a black man. I'm a black father, I have black sons, and I want to make sure that the issues confronting black men are defended, protected, enunciated, spoke upon by black men who have a vested interest in the black community. And so my draw to the Black Manosphere, or YouTube in general, to use my voice, my wisdom, my experience, was solely because black men weren't being heard. But they're hearing us now. They're hearing us as to our issues related to modern relationships, politics, education, finance, and so many other things. And I'm extremely proud of these gentlemen. I'm extremely proud of the people who put this together. It is a wonderful event, and I look forward to attending in the years to come. Hey man, I do what I do. Ask us why black men would vote for Trump. Ask yourself why the Democrat Party has become so out of touch with the very people who have been your most loyal supporters for decades. If Trump, with all his baggage, is looking like a viable alternative, that's a sign that you're seriously failed us. And here's the thing, I want you to understand something.
I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly.
You stupid.
President Obama's recent suggestion that black men may be hesitant to vote for you because you're a woman.
Let me first say that I'm very proud to have the support of former President Barack Obama.
Ooh, baby, you're especially kind of stupid, aren't you?
And I think that the important point that I will make over and over again is I don't assume to have the vote of any demographic locked down. I have to earn their vote. And I'm going to work as I've been to earn that vote and to win on November 5th.
Why do you support Trump over Kamala?
I speak more for the bigot to show you who he is than the girl who a bigot and don't want nobody to know. That's why it's on TV. Tell, lie, vision.
Baby, I don't smoke blunts. Don't assume, don't make an ass out yourself, cause dollars is what we all want. Don't pander to me. Please stand up. Respect what I need. And weed ain't one. Keep us high and string us up. Hangman. Money raining on immigrants doing the running man. Vote like black women. She twerking ass. All gender bathrooms. Perverted ass. Black men, we built this. Check the books. Yeah, believe it or not, your looks. Intellectual far from uneducated. FBA, what you say, I'm regulated. When black men make it, get agitated. White ice is colder, niggas elevated. Revolution is evolution, emancipated. Hate the woman who made you hella hated. Why you uplift everybody who ain't related? Politics, you find out who really playing. Vote black, but get nothing. Sit on the couch and still nothing. Vote the same each time that we getting hustled. A nigga change his mind, nigga screaming you. It bees that. So tell your mama and tell Kamala to tell Michelle Obama.
President Barack Obama.
The
congregation of black men does not need your advice or your guidance on who to vote for.
Number one, Kamala did not grow up like this. She grew up in upper middle class. Really, that don't matter. I'm voting on policies, and her policies suck. So Obama, keep your mouth shut.
Think about it.
Think about it.
I spree now off the plantation. Independent, no commitment to the clan.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas.
Shame on me. Never fool me again, my votes ain't free.
Fool me, we can't get fooled again.
It's for my family, yeah. Abortions. Black men I salute, yeah, they can't afford us. Why you think they play us all like we ain't important? Our women taking flights, you know they can't ignore us. Divide and conquer. Me and my mama, Trump or Kamala. Where them black dollars? You voting white? What Kamala did it? Her husband white? Her stepkiddies?
The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be to let her husband Doug anywhere near the nannies. Just keep him away. That's a nasty one.
Her white granny, her black nanny. Michael Jackson will be proud of his sister Janet.
The rumor that Janet Jackson is mad at you because you prosecuted her brother, the late great Michael Jackson. That's on the internet. Clear that up for people.
That's just not true.
I know.
Yeah, on either count.
She's not mad at you?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I have not.
Bear with me for a second. Let me put y'all on game.
The child will be able to recall and recollect with some detail the incident, and that is persuasive to a jury, even if it is the only testimony that is available.
Gotcha,
She got his back. That's for life with it. You support, turn around, they stick a knife in it.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you very much.
We not the same. We see you on the bus. 400 years and change. Your family broken up. Punk broken us. You not from the dust.
As they say, they not like us.
No, they not.
Is there ever a situation where a female leads?
Never.
You still don't get it when we spit it. You are not like us. I don't need your help. I can think out for myself. And keep out our biz. I can think out for myself. I don't need your help. I can think out for myself. And keep out our biz. I can think out for myself. I don't need your help. I can think out for myself. You can keep out our biz. I can think out for myself.
When you look at President Barack Obama's political behavior in the White House towards African Americans, I cannot, in good conscience, want any African American boy to emulate the neglect that their president has shown for African Americans.
So let me get this straight. If I vote for a party that can't define what a woman is, I'm no longer ridiculous or crazy. If I vote for a party that wants boys in my daughter's sports and restrooms, I'm no longer ridiculous or crazy. If I vote for a party that thinks they can pander to me using kente cloths and hot sauce, I'm no longer crazy. If I vote for a party that has done nothing but destroy my community for the last 60 years and open the borders in order to replace my vote and destroy my community further, I'm no longer crazy. If I vote for the party that wanted to keep me from voting, wanted to keep Jim Crow, wanted to keep slavery, party of the Klan, I'm no longer crazy.
We somehow don't like women. Man, if you don't get your ass up out of here, yo, light the White House color ass.
So Barack Hussein Obama, kiss our ass.
All them signs that say black voters, that was very offensive. That was very racist. And I'm gonna say that. That was very racist. If it was Donald Trump and he had signs up that said black voters, literally CNN would be spinning that all damn day, calling him a racist.
Respectfully, President Obama, what you said is not acceptable. Is it possible?
Yeah. Welcome.
Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Shout out to the Wrench Mob. My name is Dennis Spurling, also known as Uncle D, the Blizzard King. I want to give a big shout out to everybody who came through already. Telvin King, Urban Eagle, LJ, man. Shout out to all you guys, man, who've been hanging out with me for so long. Look, it's a very peculiar time that we live in. We are standing in a crossroads of cultural and political shift that's reshaping the landscape of Black America. For decades, the Black community has been a stronghold of the Democratic Party. They've had our loyalty, and it's driven by the fight for civil rights and social justice and economic equality. But now there's a growing divide that we can't ignore, and it's a divide that pits young Black men against the world. You know what I'm talking about? So this very political establishment that once claimed to uplift Black people and Black men, we're not feeling them. So we're looking at more than 30% of Black Americans are now leaning towards supporting Donald Trump in 2024 in this election. And leading the charge is the young brothers. And when I say young, I'm talking about under 50. So this shift is not just a political anomaly. It's a reflection of a deep-seated set of frustrations, a lot of unmet promises and rejection of traditional power structures that have governed the Black community. That's what we're looking at right now. Now, I'm going to go ahead and turn the Facebook page off. It's time for you all who have been hanging out with Facebook. You got to come on over here to YouTube. So it's time to go ahead and ease your way on over here to YouTube and partake. You can find me, everybody on Facebook. Go ahead and find me on YouTube, Dennis Sperling Podcast, so we can keep it all in unison. But either way, I want to make sure, and shout out to my Wrench Mob. Big shout out to Glow Hardy. Shout out to Terrell Weiss. Shout out to Boris Barracuda, Mark the Freelancer. All the brothers, TIQS. Who else we got in there? Shout out to everybody who came through early with the super chats early. Urban Eagle. Big shout out to LJ. Who else we got out in here, man? I saw one more come, Tevin King. Good looking out, bro. Appreciate you guys for coming in early. But again, and I want to talk to my Wrench Mob. I talk to everybody, but I am uniquely positioned in that I have been speaking to Black men for over a decade now. I've been almost a decade, and it has been a situation where I understand exactly what's going on when everybody else seems to be finding this to be a mystery. They just have no idea what happened to Black men. They acting like we're uninformed. They act like we don't know what we're talking about. And the reality is this has been something that's been brewing for a minute, you see? But a lot of these folks are just clueless as to what's going on. And in this particular situation, we're looking at, or should I say, at the heart of the crisis, in my opinion, is a relationship between Black men and Black women. And it's shaped the way it's been shaped, and in many ways was fractured by decades of political gamesmanship by the very same party, the Democrat Party, that can't seem to figure out how this happened, okay? Because see, while the Democratic Party was empowering Black women through policies like affirmative action, welfare, they, on the flip side, they left Black men feeling excluded. They left us feeling marginalized and without a voice. So today, you have the brothers, the same brothers that felt that way, the same brothers that had to deal with deep-seated frustrations, unmet promises, rejection of what would have typically been the traditional power structure in any family unit. Now you see the brothers getting their get back. Somebody type get back in the chat room. You see? No, young black men are no longer willing to be quiet. They're no longer to sit quietly and on the sidelines. They're actually asserting themselves. They're asserting their independence, and they're challenging the status quo and breaking away from the control that was given to black women by the Democrat Party and the government in general, who've had it for so long, specifically about 60 years. Now, this is about power, it's about identity, and it's about the future of the black community. It's about why brothers are turning away from the traditional paths laid out for them, or should I say, foisted upon them, and why the political and social dynamics between black men and black women are now at a breaking point. We are looking at a day of reckoning. It's a time where we just have to deal with it head on. Now, the battle brewing between black men and the traditional, I would say, black female, everybody knows that black women run the black community, right? They even call it a matriarchy. You know, instead of a patriarchy, they say it's a matriarchy. That's why brothers are so easy to get along with. You know, that's why black women end up raising a lot of the children and have so much say-so. You see? But now we're looking at a new cultural and political reality that we can't ignore. For decades, black women were empowered by the Democratic parties and the policies, and they've been positioned as the backbone of the community. They led the families. They guided the households. They stand, you know, they've been forced to stand strong in the face of oppression even. So, you know, now the tide is turning. More and more young black men are rejecting the status quo and gravitating towards conservative ideals and aligning themselves with MAGA. Somebody type Black MAGA in the chat room. And the Republican Party, in ways, aligning with the Republican Party that kind of just shake everybody to the foundation. And, you know, this specifically to the long-standing matriarchy. So we're going to chop it up for a minute. You guys hit the #1 button. I'll be right back. Have pride in yourself. Don't be so hard on yourselves. That's the other thing. Don't let this world keep kicking you and making you feel like you're not good enough. You plenty. I don't care if you're 10 pounds, 50 pounds overweight, 30 pounds underweight. You don't make enough money. You make too much money. You're too tall. You're too short. You're perfect the way you are. And I want you brothers to begin to take that. A lot of you guys did not have father figures to reinforce these things in you. You don't have that manly, fatherly love supporting you in the back of your head saying, son, you can go out there. The world is yours. I'm not your fathers, but I love you like I'm your own uncle. We all want people. And so I'm telling you, brothers, I love you as a person that most people would say is successful. I'm telling you, the opportunity is out there. And most of you guys are doing much better than I was at your age. You're more confident. You got the world, you got the benefit of people like me who've made mistakes. And I want to see you ball. That's it. All right. All right, welcome back to the broadcast. So like I was saying before the break, for years, black men have felt sidelined, forgotten, and excluded from the political and social benefits that the Democratic Party extended, mostly and exclusively to black women. Programs like affirmative action, welfare, and other empowerment policies, and in many ways uplifted black women while leaving black men behind. And the result is you have a fractured community. You have a lopsided community where the women are financially empowered and the men are kind of just left out to hang. And, you know, and then you got black women who've been led to believe by media and politics that they don't need a man. And black men felt, you know, we felt that we've been abandoned by both the political and system and even in our own homes to some extent. And so as more black men embrace I guess what you would call the Black MAGA movement, we're witnessing a rejection of the narrative that black men must follow behind the political lead of black women, or even the social league. I mean, if you look at the fact that you have passport bros in place, that lets brothers know. And shout out to Afron Richardson. Thank you so much. We got 4. We need about 16 more. 20 will be plenty. But let me get back to this. So you have black men who are no longer willing to be marginalized. They're stepping out of the shadow of the matriarch and they're reclaiming their independence. Or really they're believing black women when black women say, I don't need a man. And they're aligning themselves with the conservative party, which is blasphemy. You see what I'm saying? Because if you align yourself with the conservative party, that is tantamount to meaning you're aligning yourself with a patriarchal regime. You see? And they're promoting individual success instead of community success, the economic freedom and family values, which is, and talk about traditional family values. Black women have been enjoying the privileges of the Democratic Party policies for decades. And now, the consequences are going to be. So, we're dealing with a situation where, black women and the Democrat Party are losing their grip on black men, okay? And see, I want you to understand this nuance. The Democratic Party artificially empowered black women, okay? And so black women accepted what the Democratic Party gave them, that uplifted them, and now but it only works if they're able to control black men. And so now what you're going to find is black women will no longer be able to serve the interest of the Democrat Party, okay? And so because of that, you're going to watch the Democratic Party walk away from them. And one of the challenges, let me take a quick break. I'll be right back. You guys hit the number 1 button. Thank you guys so much.
Podcast, click your mouse pad. Yeah, we out back. Hit the like, hit subscribe. Don't just hate watch cause we outside. Let them hate watch. Go and play pop. We just lay back. He don't play that. We on playback. We on playback. We go way back. Black men, yeah, we earn something. Tune in, gotta learn something. Uncle D podcast bump it. Likes up, hit the sub button. Black men, yeah, we earn something. Tune in, gotta learn something. Uncle D podcast bump it. Likes up, hit the sub button. This is Dennis Spurling podcast. Don't just hate watch, hit subscribe and let them know we outside. Don't hold hate, donate. Super chat, cash app. Put something in the collection plate. Church.
All right, welcome back. So what we're talking about is a political shift. Now, the thing is, and I find this very interesting, and I'm gonna run a couple of videos, and the conversation is black mother doesn't understand why black son is voting for Trump. And I got some video I want to share with you guys, but you guys have seen people like Stephen A. Smith, you've seen Van Jones, you've seen Sonny Halston, and these gatekeepers are confused. And the reason they're confused is because they're truly uninformed, because they're stuck in an outdated narrative about black men and our voting patterns. They believe, or they believed, and shout out to my man Nuruddin, FDNY guy, thank you so much, 1677. I'm gonna read all my super chats at the end. But again, I want to go back to these gatekeepers. So these gatekeepers believe what is a narrative, an outdated narrative, that black men, they understand black men's voting patterns. They believe that the loyalty of black men to the Democratic Party is unquestionable. Okay? But that's not the case, and it never was the case. Black men are what were loyal to black women, and we were willing to vote for the Democratic Party because black women coerced us or wanted us to vote for the Democratic Party. See, in reality, is different. Black men, like men in general, are voting based on their interests at this point. And those interests are no longer tied to the same democratic policies that once helped sway the community over. Okay, so here's the thing: when people, let me see. First of all, when people like them talk about this, they're missing the point. Facts are 46% of black men aren't married and don't have children. So when they say family, okay, what are they talking about? When you discuss loyalty to the Democratic Party, Black men are not chained to a narrative providing some idealized family structure. We don't have families like that. Most of us are focused on our own personal progress. Okay, 57% of Black men reach the middle class at a higher. They reach middle class or higher before middle age. So we're doing fine. The truth is, Black men don't like the Democrat policies, and for the same reason that many other men don't like the Democratic Party policies. We don't like their approach. We don't like the identity politics. There's economic strategies and there's policies that undermine masculine roles in society, and those don't resonate with us. And in the context of the gender war, that's growing in society. We're no longer beholden to Black women when it comes to voting. Remember, our sisters told us at the behest of the Democrat Party that they were strong, independent, and didn't need a man. Okay, and now Black men are voting their interests. We're voting our own economy. We're voting for our own social reasons, our own personal reasons. And we're seeking policies that provide real opportunities and stability, not handouts and not hollow promises. And that's why more of us align with the conservative parties. It's not complicated. We've stopped being tethered to the narratives that don't reflect our reality, and we're voting accordingly. And that's it. In other words, fellas, we are voting just like every other man. The only reason we even voted for the Democrat Party all these years is because Black women did that. But now, this same Democrat Party, which uplifted Black men or uplifted Black women, has caused a rift amongst Black men and Black women. And Black men say, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and vote our interests. So in effect, what you're looking at is the Democrats receiving the karma that they deserve. Now, big shout out to my man ATL Slab Rider. Good looking out for that $100, man. I'm gonna make sure I read everybody's super chat at the end of this. I want to keep this thing rolling. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cue this up. This lady, she's a mom, beautiful woman. She's an attorney. She's at least married at this time. I'm gonna let what she says play, and I want you fellas to listen. Just listen how flabbergasted she is at the fact that her 20-something-year-old son is now aligning himself with the Republican Party. She's liberal. She has a husband who's liberal. They live up north. Apparently, this young man has moved down south. The young man, if this is your mom, I'd love for you to come on and explain to your mom why you're voting Republican. Because the thing is, and I don't want to get too far off track because I want to stay, they just refuse to believe that we are intelligent enough to vote. It's got to be some emotional reason. There's no way Black men have come up with this on their own. There's got to be some communists somewhere, some aliens, or some magical midgets somewhere that have convinced us to vote for Donald Trump. But listen to Mom talk. You guys hit the #1 button. Let me know if you get fair use, fair use, fair use.
You are the mom, the aunt, the cousin, the grandma, the sister, the friend of a Black male who is of voting age. I desperately need you to watch this video. If you're not, you can keep scrolling. But if you are, I need you to watch this video and I need your advice. I'm a mother of a 24-year-old handsome Black male who lives down the south. I live up north, but he grew up in a very, you can call it liberal household. My household has always, including my husband, he grew up with a man in the household, a male role model. Both of us are educated. We've always advocated and been activists for the rights of marginalized and oppressed people, to include people of Black, brown, Muslim, Asian, people with disabilities, LGBTQIA, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Now, I want you to understand how sincere mom is. Mom is so sincere with this confusion. She does not understand how her baby ended up being one of these fools that decided to vote for Donald. She don't get it. She is clueless. I know why, because I've been listening to you brothers for over a decade. But she's confused. How is it that my son, who's raised in this liberal household, right? And what has happened to him now? She's confused. Somebody type confused and bewildered in the chat room. Let's go.
We've talked about rights as we have a nonprofit. We do lots of things in the community that supports the politics and the policies of Vice President Kamala Harris. I even remember
Now, keep in mind, to a lot of black people who are stuck in that, it's like the Republicans are evil. They're evil people. But you got to understand, black men have been the bad guy for centuries now, or decades at least. And so why is it I'm a bad guy, they're bad guys, we're just going to align with each other? Somebody say, embrace being the bad guy, embrace being the bad guy, embrace being the bad guy. Who told y'all that first, right? I told y'all that first, and I said, reap the benefit of it. Be the bad guy, vote Republican, get lower taxes. There we go. So let's leave. Let's let mom continue.
Day that Barack Obama won the election in 2008, and my son was 8 years old. And the very next day, he got up and put on a suit and tie. He wanted to wear that to school because he saw himself in that moment that he could be the president of the United States. However, in the past several months, he has been giving me strong indications, although he has not said it out loud, that he wants to vote for former President Donald Trump in this election.
Look. Look. Let me tell you. I just want y'all to look at that double head nod right there. That's anger. That is pure rage right there. I want you to listen to. Bless her heart. Look.
However,
look at the double head nod.
In the past several months,
look at the head nod.
He has been giving me strong indications, although he has not said it out loud, that he wants to vote for former President Donald Trump in this election. We are constantly.
Bless her. She hot. She running hot. You see that double shake? He wants to vote for Donald Trump. All she needed was That's what should have followed that. So yeah, she is confused. She is legitimately bewildered while her son, her handsome son, who did community service with her and her husband, could vote for this angry, mean man who was xenophobic and racist and all. She don't understand that. All right? Let's keep listening.
Talking him off of that ledge.
Talking him off. We trying to, every day he calls. She is trying to, how could you vote for him? How could you vote for this man? What is wrong with you? I didn't raise you like that. I could bet that probably popped up a few times.
We are constantly defending Vice President Kamala Harris and reinforcing what we experienced under the oppressive conditions, the police brutality, et cetera, that we experienced under the presidency of Donald Trump. We have to continue to
We are trying our best to scare him back to the Democratic plantation. And we are doing, me and my husband, we are doing the best we can. How could you want to vote for this man? I bet this sister's giving all kind of closing arguments. She is using every bit of her law school lawyer experience to try to convince her son. And she out here feeling bad. She might darn near feel like she failed because she can't get this boy to jump back on the Democrat plantation. He's free. He done freed himself, praise God. He done freed. Where is this young brother? I need to talk to him. We need to give him a medal or something like that. Let's keep listening.
Project 2025 and what that's going to mean for him as a black man in the future. But for some reason, about once a week.
You see that? Did you see that head turn like that? For some reason, once a week. Look, it's so much. It's so much. nonverbal communication going on. Look at this sister turn her head.
Under the presidency of Donald Trump.
Look.
We have to continue to reinforce Project 2025 and what that's going to mean for him as a black man in the future.
Watch the head turn real quick.
But for some reason, about once a week,
he must be
we have to
dating a
talk
white
him
girl.
off that ledge. I'm not sure what's going on with our young black man. He grew up in a very privileged household.
In other words, I don't know what the hell is wrong with this boy. He grew up in, this is what I want you to pay attention to. She tight, her jaw is tight. I want you to hear, she basically said he grew up in we should have made him suffer. Listen to this.
He grew up in a very privileged household. He has had all of his needs met, and maybe because he hasn't had to go a day without health care, he hasn't had to go a day without food and his basic necessities. If his human rights or his educational rights or whatever rights that he is entitled to has ever been breached, we have always been there to advocate for him.
So basically what she said, maybe we should have deprived him of some of his rights. Maybe we should have tortured him a little bit so he can appreciate the downtrodden. Because this boy, we should have beat him a little bit more. That's what you look. I'm reading between the words. She's angry. Honest, Mom. Look, I feel you, Mom. You would have thought his son came back home with a white girl or something like that. The way she is talking to the screen right now, you got to go to the internet and make your boy. I feel you. I feel you, baby girl. It's all right. Y'all pray for us. Somebody put your hands up on the screen and pray for hallelujah, Mom. You're gonna make it through, baby. Somebody type Black MAGA in the chat room. Praise God. We ask you, Lord, to relieve her of all the stress and anger that she's going through. He just brought a white girl home vibes from him, Lord. Help her get free, Lord. Help her get free. She don't know what to do with this. Let's keep listening to Mom.
And maybe that's the problem. Maybe that privileged life that he has experienced of a young black man.
We let him we treated him
has somehow aligned with Donald Trump's privilege.
I don't think that's it, baby.
And somehow he sees himself more in him than he does Vice President Kamala Harris. But more importantly, but what really keeps me up at night is that as a black woman, I have always made it a priority to show him the strength of a black woman. I started out as a single mother.
So you telling us you out here, you showed him the strength. Somebody in the chat room, when a black woman says that she showed you the strength of a black woman, interpret that for all our white and Hispanic friends, because they may not understand that intonation and statement. When a black woman says, I showed him the strength of a black woman, what does that mean? Come on, give it to him, y'all. Let's show him what that means.
With him, I went to law school with him. His first day of kindergarten was my first day of law school. So he witnessed me struggle through law school. He witnessed me even after I graduated, started making salaries, the struggle and my rise and my fight through many things throughout my life.
Struggle, bitterness.
And to not see that same strength and determination in another black woman.
Now, hold on now. Now you saying that Kamala Harris is a black woman. We don't believe you, baby. Maybe your son don't think she black. Have you ever thought about that? He might love you. He loves you. He loves his mama. Most black men love their mama. She could be a crack fiend, but she's still a black queen. They love their mama. He don't see her in you, baby girl. That I'm just saying. Let's keep listening.
It has me down. It has me disappointed. It has me
somebody type it has me down. These black women don't understand how these brothers are. It has me down. Somebody type down in the chat room.
Wondering, where did I go wrong? Where did my household go wrong? Why am I having to have these conversations? These are just not conversations that I ever pictured having with any child of mine. With anyone, honestly, that shares my bloodline of people. The whole family has advocated for civil rights. I come from Montgomery, Alabama. My whole family was involved in some sort of civil rights movement throughout history.
She talking with her hair too.
So if you are, again, a black mom, sister, cousin,
help me,
aunt, whatever, friend,
Whatever, baby girl.
grandma,
I know.
and you're having to have these same conversations, just let me know. Let me
Let
know
me
I'm not
know.
alone.
Let me know.
Let me know what you're doing, how you're having these conversations, how they're going for you.
Let me know.
I need some support, y'all. I do. I need some support.
Let me know.
But let's get this done.
Get it done.
Let's get this done.
Let me know.
So
she just, bless her heart. We're going to pray for her. She don't know. She don't understand. What happened? How did I lose my son? Okay. How? What happened? Look, let me do this. Just, first of all, she's sincere. She really wants to know what happened. This black liberal mom, she's questioning, why does my son support Trump? And we need to look beyond the household into the broader cultural and political landscape that this young black man is navigating today. First, it's important to understand that the experiences of young black men today are vastly different from the generation that grew up under the civil rights struggle. While many other black Americans grew up with a strong loyalty to the Democratic Party as that party of progress that they once were, young black men in 2024 growing up in the world where many of those promises felt unfulfilled. They see our community still grappling with poverty, high unemployment, police brutality, and mass incarceration. And for some, the traditional political approaches of the Democratic Party feel stagnant and disconnected from their real world day-to-day struggles. And this disconnect is exacerbated by the fact that many young black men feel excluded from social advancement that they see women, black women specifically, benefiting from. As this mom in this scenario, she mentioned her son grew up in a privileged, supportive household. But the thing mom needs to understand is that doesn't negate the social, or should I say societal pressures that he faces as a black man. He's seen black women uplifted by affirmative action. He's seen black women uplifted by progressive policies and gender-focused movements, while young black men, on the other hand, are demonized and overlooked. And whether we're talking about the criminal justice system or the school to prison pipeline or unemployment rates, black men have historically been left behind, even in programs meant to uplift the black community. For many brothers, Trump represents a rejection of a system that we feel has failed us. Now, the key here is the Democratic Party's approach to identity politics, which it often pits brothers against sisters. Number one, welfare, affirmative action. Those things disproportionately benefit black women. Shout out to Jamal Smith. And what does that do when you benefit one and done the other? It leads to economic and social empowerment. And young black men feel left out. They're struggling. And these brothers, they see Trump, we see Trump as someone who challenges the system, someone who's going to come in and disrupt the status quo. You see? Somebody who is going to tear down the system that's responsible for marginalizing us. And Trump, for all of his flaws, he presents himself as a defiant figure who doesn't care about politics. He doesn't care about political correctness. And for many brothers, that resonates with us. You understand? And we feel that, we're constantly being told that we're the problem. And whether it's a discussion about toxic masculinity or criminality or deadbeat daddies, economic failure, we're always a problem. Trump, on the other hand, by contrast, offers us a different narrative, and it's something that, one that we aren't the villains. You see? So what you see is this is a cultural shift. It isn't just about Donald Trump, because the brothers have been shifting towards the Republican Party since Barack Obama's last election, you see? and it's about disillusionment with us. It's about disillusionment with the political system that we feel takes our vote for granted but never delivers. And brothers we see ourselves as entrepreneurs, as independent thinkers, and we're looking for someone who promises to challenge the establishment, the same establishment that's let us down. And we're drawn to Trump's rhetoric. We're drawn to what he said. We like his economic opportunities that he's talking about, and we like his critiques on the political elite and his promises to be the champion for the forgotten American. And if anybody is forgotten, it's definitely Black men. You understand what I'm talking about? So, for her mom, you can see, I mean, look, this woman is genuinely sincere about what she's saying. But she's taking this personal and I understand why. Because see, this shift that she's sensing in her son and in Black men in general, it's deeply personal. She feels betrayed because in her eyes, she has given her son everything. She's given him privilege and education and support. You heard her say health insurance. But her son's shift towards Trump is less about personal circumstances and more about a broader sense of delusionment with how Black men have been treated by society and the political establishment. See, there's only one other person that can understand a Black man in America. It's not even Black men who come from the Caribbean or Africa, because they can go home. And Black women can't do it. The only people that can understand a Black American is another Black American. We identify with each other and we see what's happening, you see? So her son's shift towards Trump is less about his personal circumstances and more about a broader sense of disillusionment with how we've been treated by both society and the political establishments. See, in many ways, this crisis of identity is what you see going on. Shout out to my man Nuruddin, FDNY guy 1677. But look, black men are looking for a place where we feel, and we feel we're being seen, we're being heard, we're being respected, we're being valued. And right now, Trump's message resonates with us because we see it as a way to assert our own agency. And rather than continue to follow a party that has purposely divided Black men and Black women and uplifted Black women and gave them all this ammunition to talk bad about us. And so it no longer serves our interests. And this is a hard conversation for many Black women to have. It's a hard conversation for many Black families to have. And some people you can't have these conversations with. You can't go have a conversation like this with a 55, 60-year-old Black man and tell him you voting for Trump. They'll put you out. They're not trying to hear that. You see, not all of them, but most of them. But it's important to recognize that this shift isn't necessarily a rejection of the civil rights progress. It's a reflection of a group of young men who feel left out and who are seeking alternative answers to what we're dealing with. Now, what mom thinks is going wrong, I want to analyze this a little deeper, okay? Now, mom, she's reflecting on her son's political choices. And for you guys who got here late, this pretty lady right here, she's a lawyer back east, I'm sure up north somewhere. And she's confused because her son, who's probably moved down south, he's somewhere in Atlanta or Texas or something, he decided he going full Trump. He's decided he's going to vote for Donald Trump, and she is hurt and confused and just does not understand where she went wrong. She literally said, "Where did I go wrong? What did I do? I must have done something wrong. I mean." And it's not about you, baby girl. That's the thing, and that's what I'm trying to help these folk understand. It's not about them. It's about your son looking at the big picture. And it only Black men truly understand our experience. And see, that's the other problem. And that's just not registering with her. But the thing is, mom is reflecting on her son's political choices and is grappling with a deeper more unsettling truth. Okay. And she believes that by giving her son a life free from struggle, okay, she's inadvertently lost control over him. Think about that logic. See, in her mind, she's now questioning whether her nurturing and supporting approach may have backfired. So here you got a mom, you got a mom who's nurturing and supporting of her son, and she thinking, I must have been wrong. I should have treated him a lot worse. That's basically what she said. I should have treated him a whole lot worse than what I treated him. And and just think about that rationale. Instead of raising a son who is compliant and humble and aligned with her values, she's now facing a young man who thinks for himself and who questions her worldview and more disturbingly rejects her political ideology, which she cherishes. And so what she's really wrestling with is the fear that by giving him too much freedom, too much privilege, too much independence, she's created a young man who no longer feels bound to her influence. Okay? And what we know and what we understand about our lovely ladies is that they want that power. They want to have control and they want to have power over their sons. And that's how you maintain power in a matriarchy, is you keep them under your influence. See, deep down inside, her frustration it stems from the fact that her son is no longer under her control, and she interprets this as having gone wrong in her parenting, and that hurts a parent deeply. Okay, no matter what it is, a loss of control over your young son, she thought would be a reflection of her values and her beliefs, and he then went off and went black MAGA on her, and she envisioned herself as a strong guiding force in his life, and she's showing him the way, but now he's strayed from the path, and it feels like a betrayal. That's what you see. It's not just hurt, it's betrayal. Shout out to my man Nuridan, FDNY guy. So, what's the problem? I mean, if we can dig into that a little deeper. When mom is expressing her doubts about whether she treated her son too well, it reveals, and she's clearly a good mom. This is clearly a good mom right here. We need more moms like her. Her delusionment is earnest. Okay. She's honest. You can sense, by the way, she real hurt behind this. Okay. And what she's really saying is she's wondering if she should have allowed him to face more hardships, to experience more tough realities that help shape her. Okay. And maybe if he had faced the same challenges, he would be more compassionate and more obedient, and more aligned with her worldview. But what she means by humble and compassionate could also be translated to broken and compliant. You understand that? Somebody type buck breaking in the chat room. Maybe, in other words, I should say, she questions whether shielding him from struggle has made him independent to the degree that she can no longer control him. She looks back on it. Shout out to my man Nuridan, FDNY guy, 1677, man. Shout out to you, man. I'm gonna read all of these super chats in a minute. But she looks back on her struggles, and if you listen to her conversation, she said that he was in kindergarten and she was a single mom at the time, and she put herself through school. So it sounds to me like she got married afterwards. I don't know if she married their child's father, but that's what it seems like. But she's looking back on her own struggle and the grind of being a single mom and going to law school while raising her son. And she's looking at the personal sacrifices she made and she had to give so she can give him the best life possible. And she feels that, in some ways it was too easy for him, you see, and maybe he didn't have to scrap and claw like she did. And maybe he didn't have to experience the weight of systematic oppression in the same visceral way she did. And because of this, she feels as though her son hasn't developed that same compassion, you see, or really maybe that same fire or fight that she believes so passionately in as far as her beliefs. So what she's essentially regretting is giving him a life where he had luxury. He had the luxury to think for himself, where instead of one where his experience would force him, mold him, you see, prepare him in the way that she saw fit. In her heart, she may even believe that a more difficult upbringing would have tethered him more tightly to her beliefs and her struggles and her understanding of the world. But ironically, what she did instead was raise a young man who sees the world differently than she does, a young man who questions authority, even hers. And he wants to chart his own course. I salute the young brother. Shout out to Wrench Turner. Shout out to Quid Pro Quo. Thank you so much, fellas. So mom is dealing with it. Okay, this is a good woman right here. She is earnestly trying to figure this out. And at the core, and I want y'all to understand something. This is about a power dynamic. Okay, this is a power dynamic going on. This is a clash of wills that we're dealing with. And at the core of her reflection is a power struggle. See, she might not consciously admit it, but much of her disappointment likely comes from the realization that she does not control her son in the way she once thought she did. Kids grow up and they tell you what they think about you. Let them get a little power. You see what I'm saying? They're going to show you, those of you guys who don't know. Okay? And her son, as a child, he looked up to her, I'm sure, and he followed her example, and he perhaps even mirrored her aspirations. But now at 24 years old, this young black man, he's asserting his independence. And he's rejecting the narrative that she constructed for him. And this rejection, it feels personal to her. That's what you see on her face. That's why she really is not feeling, she's a good mom, but she's feeling rejected. Look at the way she shook her little head, turned her head. She don't even understand. She looking at the screen cockeyed. How did I raise this boy? You see, her son's for Donald Trump, her support for Donald Trump. You can see it in her eyes. It symbolizes a break from the values she holds there, but also from her authority as a mom. And this mom believed that by guiding her son closely, by giving him love and structure and education and access, she could mold him into the person she envisioned. But now she's seeing the limits of that influence. Her son has grown into someone who questions her very worldview and makes choices that challenges her. And for a mom who fought so hard to give him everything she thought he needed, this is a hard pill to swallow. And the son she raised to think for himself is doing just that, but in ways she didn't foresee. See, in her mind, she may be speculating, if I had been harder on him, if I hadn't protected him so much, maybe he would be more obedient. Maybe he wouldn't question me. Maybe he wouldn't reject the political values I fought so hard to instill in him. And what she's lamenting is not just a difference in political opinion. It's a loss of control over a son who now thinks for himself and makes his own choices, often in direct opposition to her influence. Now, the other thing you got to understand, and shout out to my man Glow Hardy. Where's Glow Hardy at? Is Glow Hardy up in here? Shout out to my wrench mob. Y'all, I've been hearing stories. Y'all been running off to other people's pages and talking about the stuff we talk about. Everybody ain't gonna treat you like me. I let y'all ramble on and on and on and on. So I want to share a quick video with you guys. Man, shout out to my wrench mob. I'm proud of you dudes, man. Don't let them shut y'all down. Everybody type Glow Hardy in the chat room. We're gonna take a break. We'll be right back.
All that lying and hustling and no, the street dudes ain't really rocking with that. They see it for what it is. What's going on, brother Niger?
Man, what's up? I just found out about you like a month ago. I haven't seen Hidden Colors or anything, and it's like I dealt with this whole like other thing, but to get to the point about like, how the streets and the higher society of Black people connect, I think that it's a very important topic of conversation because you want to be able to relate. I think men of character relate to the plights of the average man. Yeah. This is when we talk about the poem of, I know it's a white guy, but it's a very profound poem, taking it away from race. Rudyard Kipling's If.
Yeah.
You know, the line where he says, if a man can walk amongst commoners and still retain his value, you know, like, I just think that relating to the plights and pleasures and experiences of the average man, even if you're in a higher position, is you know, very valuable to a man's character. It speaks higher. I think it speaks volumes about a man's character when he can relate to those who are in destitute circumstances and having to do things, you know, less conventional, you know, to get it how he gets it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I definitely experienced that, you know. And I'm coming from Chicago, you know what I'm saying? It's tough here. This is the playing ground for the CIA and the FBI and like all types of crazy stuff. Like we talking about like big, you know, 3-letter agencies, and so like the way that we have to think here, you know, not necessarily outsmarting the police for our own, you know, good, you know, but it is for our own good, but not trying to be on no BS, but just like outsmarting these people who are trying to think like 10 steps ahead of us and stall our forward progress, you know.
Yes, land your plane. There you go. Thank you so much. Something I got land people plane. I feel you, a little long-winded, but there you go. Had to land his plane a little bit. But I feel what he's saying. The brother made some very good points, man.
Oh, man. Man, Glowhardy, you know you long with everybody not gonna let you just ramble on and on like I do, man. You got to let bro, look. Hey, shout out to the Wrench Mob, though. I see y'all out there kicking up dust. Many of you guys have started your own channels. But you guys who just came here, man, for years, I'd let the brothers come on and just talk. And we'd have open conversations about whatever they wanted to talk about. We'd be way up in here, way into the night talking about things. And, you know, I just let them ramble on. Sometimes we've been here for 2.5, 3 hours just letting them talk because they needed to get it off their chest. And but the thing is, I listened with them, I interacted with them. So I pretty much know everything they're gonna say when they're gonna say it. I've learned their different personalities, and I've encouraged many of these young brothers to go off and start their own channels. Also to of course go off to other people's YouTube channel. But look, everybody ain't gonna let you talk like I do. His real name is not. Everybody ain't gonna let you talk like I do. Tariq cut you off. And you hear what he said. Yeah, I just heard about you a couple of weeks ago because I oftentimes mention the good brother Tariq Nasheed. He's a historian. He's a TV producer. And so, man, shout out to Glowhardy, man. Keep up the good work. But back to what we talking about. So, for those of you guys who came late, this sister here, and shout out to Hootsie. Thank you so much. And also shout out to Alexander Ruffin. I'm going to make sure I read all these super chats. But this sweet lady right here, her son, MAGA, has got her son. Donald Trump has got her son, and she don't know what to do about it. And she does not understand how Donald Trump was able to convince her son. And she don't know what's wrong with the rest of you black men either. How dare y'all vote for Donald Trump? I don't understand. I don't get it. And so again, you know, this lady, and when you listen to her conversation, there's this fear of independence, a fear that her son's political choices represent not just rebellion, but a full break from the values that have defined their relationship. The strength she showed him as a black woman, sacrifices she made, and the values that she believed or she thought she was imparting, it seemed to be lost on him. You see? She wonders, where did I go wrong? She even said that. Her fear is that she has lost him to a world that she can no longer control or even understand. A world where her son, her baby boy, no longer sees her struggles as the lens through which he should view the world. So what mom doesn't recognize is that she did exactly what many parents hope to do. She raised an independent thinker. But in doing so, she lost the ability to dictate his choices. The very autonomy and freedom she gave him, the privilege that she worked so hard to provide, That's allowed him to form his own identity, one that no longer aligns with hers, but still, that's what it's allowed him to do. So that's what bothers her, you see? And that's the irony in this. Shout out to Barry Little. See, the realization that her son is no longer an extension of her beliefs, but his own person, making choices that reflect his experiences, not hers, that's scary to her. That's what you see happening. It's fear. Now, what's really at stake? What's really at stake, if I want to get straight to it, is the erosion of matriarchal power in a broader sense. See, this reflects the shifting power dynamics between Black mothers and their sons, Black women and Black men. See, for decades, Black women, particularly single moms, have held immense authority within the Black family structure, often out of necessity, but still. See, they've been the backbone of the families. They've been making decisions. They've been raising the children and everything that goes along with being the boss of the house, the boss of the community. But as more brothers, more young Black men, like her very own son, begin to reject this alignment with the Democrat Party and this being beheld or beholden to Black women and assert our own agency, then that power dynamic is threatened, brothers. See, mom is a microcosm of what you see happening in the greater Black community. Like many others, she's realizing that they no longer have control over Black men that they once did, and it scares them. See, like this woman, her son's independence, it's not just about a political disagreement, it represents a political shift in the cultural power that Black women, particularly those who've raised their children, have held over their sons. You see, and if these young men, if these brothers begin to think for ourselves, the challenge the values that Black women fought for and whooped up on us to have, where does that leave the legacy of this Black matriarchy? Huh? In her heart, she may even fear the loss of influence that she has over her son. And it's symbolic of a larger erosion of control within the Black community and the Black family. She's not just losing her political power, she's losing her authority. Her role as the one who guides and shapes not just this Black man, but all Black men. And that loss is much harder to reconcile. You see, one detail that stands out in this woman's conversation, if you want to look at the geographic separation between her and her son, so just so we can kind of understand the relationship between her and her boy. He lives down south, while she and her husband live up north. And this isn't just a trivial fact. It speaks volumes about the underlying dynamics between them. Now, I'm not knocking mom. Mom did a great job. She's a beautiful woman. She's obviously a very intelligent woman. But this young man didn't just grow up and leave home. He actively distanced himself from his mother, physically and symbolically. This suggests to me, as a parent, he wanted to escape the intense control she had over his life, a control that may have felt suffocating. And we're not talking about an average household here. We're talking about a mom who is a lawyer, which means she's an overachiever. It means she's driven. It means she's opinionated. And it means she's very likely a perfectionist. Now, she'll never admit it, but you don't get to be on that level like that and operating at that high level without having those attributes. And so, and shout out to my man Hootsie. In her eyes, everything she did was to shape her son into the person she believed he should become. And she worked tirelessly. She attended law school while raising him. She fought through the struggles and built a life of achievement. But her son, it seems, was ready to break free from the narrative she created for him. And living down south may represent more than just a relocation for him. It's an escape from the constant influence of a mother who's always been in control, always telling him what to think and how to live. See, it's not difficult to imagine what growing up in the household might have been like for her son. With a mom who's a high-achieving lawyer, there's probably going to be some constant pressure to perform. There's going to be some pressure to be perfect and to meet expectations that she had set for him. And this young man grew up watching his mom push through adversity, and no doubt she expected him to, embody what she thought would be ideal for him as a young man. You see? So, what happened? What happened when the child grows up feeling that their entire life is mapped out for them? They rebel. They seek freedom. They look for ways to define their identity outside their parents' influence. And for this mom, everything about her son's upbringing was strategic. It was calculated. It was designed to produce a reflection of her own values and success. So from her perspective, she provided him with every opportunity. He never had to struggle for basic necessities. He never lacked for education or healthcare. And she believes that by giving him everything, she ensured his success. But what mom failed to see is that in doing so, she may have stifled his ability to carve out his own path. And so her son moved down south, away from her control. And that speaks volumes about his desire to break free from the influence of a highly driven, opinionated mom who likely had little tolerance for divergence in views. The fact that this woman, this lovely lady, has got on the internet and I'm sure her friends know who she is, and her son is seeing her and like, that's your mom on the internet, your mom on TikTok, dog, roasting you, you see? So she did this for a reason. I can't talk to him, so I'm gonna have everybody else who knows me talk to him. So mom is, as I said, her profession as an attorney. Lawyers are trained to argue, they're trained to convince, to win. And in a home, this might translate to a constant push for debate, correction, and control. And every conversation becomes a courtroom. Every decision a strategic argument. Her son, he grew up in this environment. He might have felt that his own voice is drowned out by hers, and his choices were scrutinized, and debated, and ultimately shaped by her own presence. You see, she determined to mold him into this ideal person, this perfect black man that votes Democratic and is beholden to the matriarchy, instead of him being his own person. And her disappointment in his political choices isn't just about Trump, it's about the fact that she no longer controls him. And that's what we have to understand. And that's what you brothers are going to have to deal with. This is about control. She can't influence him, his thoughts, the way he used to. And that terrifies her. And as a lawyer, she used to being in command, crafting an argument and winning, but she's losing this battle. And she has done everything in her power to keep her son aligned with her values and convince him to embrace her worldview. And here he is breaking away, making choices that feel like a direct contradiction to everything she stands for. She probably embarrassed to tell people that her son is voting for Donald Trump. You see? That's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with. But family, brothers, we got a changing dynamic going on between black men and black women. Somebody type Big Mama is dead in the chat room. You guys who've been with me for a minute, you understand where I'm going with this. There's a loss of reverence and respect that black men used to have for black women. See, the reality, many black women, including his mom, are now facing a truth. And I've heard it here. I heard it first. Whenever I do those broadcasts about moms and black moms, back in the 80s, you could never, a black man to fight you about saying something about his mom. A black man would. But black men, you're now facing the fact that black men no longer have that same I guess, ideal love and respect for black. We still love black women, of course. Okay. But this shift in perception is not something that happened overnight. It's been brewing for years. And the reasons behind it is complex and it's multifaceted from, my God, exposure brought by the internet. Somebody type sexy red in the chat room. You got these changing dynamics in black households. You got young black men today are seeing black women, particularly their mothers, in a very different light than previous generations did. See, the internet ended all the secrecy. See, one of the most significant factors driving this shift is the internet, which has exposed things that were once discussed quietly and in private rooms. The internet has become a platform where dirty laundry is aired, whether it be for relationships, family dynamics, or even the individual's behavior. It's all aired out for everybody to see. Social media, podcasts, YouTube and other platforms have brought light to behaviors and attitudes that black women used to discuss in private circles. And now the conversation that used to be whispered at family gatherings or other social events are laid bare for everyone to dissect and critique and judge. Black men, especially young black men, are seeing and hearing stories that used to be kept behind closed doors. Who doing what with who? Whose baby ain't for the right baby daddy? What grandma did, what great grandma did, what my mama did. Okay, and we're watching women talk openly about their disdain for black men, about their frustration and anger with black men for little or nothing. You see? And they're talking about how they manage their life as boss babes or independent women. And we're witnessing these contradictions and this hypocrisy and the flaws that come with it, you know. And so for black men, this exposure has created a sense of delusionment. The respect, the admiration that we once held for black women, those older women, the big mama types, the meemaws, especially our grandmothers, our mothers, it's eroding because we're seeing a side of black women that was previously hidden. Them old women didn't talk about all the men they had with. These women will tell you their body count open and won't hide it. You see? And the brothers are seeing the manipulation, they seeing the games, they seeing the complaints from other men, and they seeing the sense of entitlement from women. And it's changing our perception of black womanhood, and that reverence for the strong black woman is fading. You see? We're confronted with an unfiltered, raw version of the reality behind that image. So, mom, okay, who sees herself as something like an instruction manual on what it means to be black, is finding that her son is no longer buying into that manual. Why? Because he's seen the flaws in the model she presented. See, she's part of the generation of black women who champion the idea of independence, boss babe, that mentality, and being a strong single mother. While these traits may have been celebrated, her son, he's seen the other side, and he's seen the cracks in the image. And as this boy gets older, he likely observed things about his mother that she might not have intended for him to see. And he saw struggles. He saw the frustrations and the reality and what it means to live a life of a boss babe. Somebody type boss babe in the chat room. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. Y'all hit the #1 button, man. Y'all show me some love. And make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Go ahead and do that. Y'all hit the #1 button. I will be right back shortly. Okay? All right. Y'all make sure y'all hit that #1 button, man. I'll be right back.
In this Sperling podcast, click your mouse pad. Yeah, we out back. Hit the like, hit subscribe. Don't just hate watch, cause we outside. Let them hate watch, go and play pop. We just lay back. He don't play that. We on playback. We on playback. We go way back. Black men, yeah, we earn something. Tune in, gotta learn something. Uncle D podcast bumping. Likes up, hit the sub button. Black men, yeah, we earn something. Tune in, gotta learn something. Uncle D podcast bumping. Likes up, hit the sub button. This is Dennis Spurling podcast. Don't just hate watch. Hit subscribe and let them know we outside. Don't hold hate, donate. Super chat, cash app. Put something in the collection plate. Church.
And I want y'all to make sure y'all hit the number 1 button. And we're going to kind of get back to what we like to do over here, man. I need y'all to check in at a certain point when it's time to check in. I need to checking in to start happening again. We got to go ahead and get this algorithm pumping.
The friend of a black male who is of voting age. I desperately need you to watch this video. If you're not, you can keep scrolling. But if you are, I need you to watch this video and I need your advice. I am a mother of a 24-year-old handsome black male who lives down the south. I live up north, but he grew up in a very, you can call it liberal household. My household has always, including my husband, he grew up with a man in the household, a male role model. Both of us are educated. We've always advocated.
Notice she didn't say his father. She said my husband. I want y'all to pay close attention to that.
And been activists for the rights of marginalized and oppressed people, to include people of black, brown, Muslim, Asian, people with disabilities, LGBTQIA, etc., etc., etc. We've talked about rights as we have a nonprofit. We do lots of things in the community that supports the politics and the policies of Vice President Kamala Harris.
In other words, what she's saying is, like the Democratic Party, we believe in free giveaways and so on and so forth. And we help people. We're compassionate. We're not like those mean, nasty Republicans. But see, what the sisters doesn't understand is your son's perspective is different. He doesn't want to help those Venezuelan migrants who are coming up here, wreaking havoc and skipping the line in front of everybody else and creating more competition. His perspective is different, and she can't understand the lack of compassion. And she's thinking, if I had made his life harder, he would be more compassionate. That's what this sister's thinking. Let's keep listening.
I even remember the day that Barack Obama won the election in 2008, and my son was 8 years old. And the very next day, he got up and put on a suit and tie. He wanted to wear that to school because he saw himself in that moment that he could be the president of the United States. However, in the past several months, he has been giving me strong indications, although he has not said it out loud, that he wants to vote for a former president, Donald Trump, in this election.
Oh man, her little rocking back and forth like that says it all. He wants to vote for Donald Trump in this election. And she's sitting there thinking, where did I go wrong? Where did I fail? And how can I go back to the Hamptons? And my son is one of these idiots out here voting for Donald Trump, a black man. How dare he? Woo! That's what she wanted to say. Somebody said, woo, in the chat room. So here's the thing, as I said earlier, this little boy probably grew up seeing some things about mom that he saw as flaws. And I'm not knocking this woman. I'm just saying, let's just keep it 100, okay? She might have watched how he treated her husband, who apparently may be stepdad. And it's possible that he didn't respect what he saw. Whether it was a lack of deference to her husband or an imbalanced power dynamic in the home, or simply a relationship that didn't reflect traditional masculine and feminine roles, her son saw flaws. See, young black men today are watching how their moms treat the men in their lives And many are not impressed. And in fact, they're repulsed by that. Somebody type passport bros in the chat room. They see their mothers who control and dictate and dominate and reject that. And they reject that model. They want feminine women. And that's why they're traveling down south. And when I say down south, I'm not talking about Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi. I'm talking about Colombia, Brazil, Venezuela, even Dominican Republic. And see, that's what you see happening. Mom, it sounds like, likely brought a man into the house. I'm going to let y'all listen to this and y'all tell me if y'all get what I got.
We are constantly talking him off of that ledge. We are constantly defending Vice President Kamala Harris and reinforcing what we experienced under the oppressive conditions, the police brutality, et cetera, that we experienced under the presidency of Donald Trump. We have to continue to reinforce Project 2025 and what that's going to mean for him.
Now, the thing is, Donald Trump has already admitted that Project 2025 is something that came from a conservative think tank. He hadn't even read it. Okay. So, this is just more Democrat propaganda. And that's not what the man said he was going to do. And I have to take him at his word because he did what he said he was going to do last time. Let's keep listening.
As a black man in the future. But for some reason, about once a week, we have to talk him off that ledge. I'm not sure what's going on with our young black man. He grew up in a very privileged household. He has had all of his needs met, and maybe because he hasn't had to go a day without health care, he hasn't had to go a day without food and his basic necessities. If his human rights or his educational rights or whatever rights that he is entitled to has ever been breached,
I maintained him well. And because I maintained him like a human being should be maintained, maybe that's a problem. Maybe I should have treated him harsher and then he'd be more compassionate. That's what this lady is saying.
Always been there to advocate for him. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe that privileged life that he has experienced of a young black man has somehow aligned with Donald Trump's privilege. And somehow
he think he's white. That's basically my son thinks he's a white man. He think he's privileged. I should have let him suffer like the rest of these N-words. That's what she's saying. That's not cool, baby girl. Let's keep listening.
How he sees himself more in him than he does vice.
He sees himself more as a white man. That's my son's problem. That's what she's saying. Instead of Kamala Harris, who is a allegedly black woman, he identifies with the white. He's a privileged. He's white adjacent. That's what this sister's trying to say about her son.
President Kamala Harris. But more importantly, not more importantly, but what really keeps me up at night is that as a black woman, I
want y'all to listen to this very carefully.
Always made it a priority to show him the strength of a black woman. I started out as a single mother with him.
What? Did y'all hear that? I started off as what? Uh-oh. Let me run maybe I didn't hear that correct. Did y'all hear the key phrase in there? I started off as a what?
Not more importantly, but what really keeps me up at night is that as a black woman, I have always made it a priority to show him the strength of a black woman. I started out as a single mother with him.
I started off as a single mother with him. Okay? So let's analyze that. Young black men today, they watch their mothers treat the men in their lives really poorly. And I'm not saying this woman did that. I'm just saying, I'm just going through it. She's asked the question of the internet is answering. See, mothers who control and dictate and dominate, right? A lot of these brothers are rejecting that type of behavior. This mom likely brought a man into the home after starting off as a single mother and expecting him to be the role model for her son. But the son obviously didn't respect this new male figure. Now, the fact that, and you can hear her talk about how this man voted. Many liberal men who align with progressive values are not seen as the most masculine of role models. And her son probably didn't see that kind of strength and leadership and authority in his stepdad that he craved. That's what it sounds like to me. And instead of respecting the political advice or influence of his stepdad, this young son moved down south and he likely dismissed him as weak or irrelevant. That may be hard for a lot of you women to deal with, but that's what it seems to be happening. You see, and again, this is part of a larger trend where you got young black men, they don't see liberal men as masculine or strong, or at least strong enough to lead. They reject the idea of being passive or soft, traits that we often associate with more progressive men, right? More egalitarian men, right? And these are the type of men that women, black women specifically, have aligned with because they're easy to control. So the son, in this case, likely wants something different, someone who embodies strength, decisiveness, a more traditional form of masculinity that he feels is missing in his household. Look, like I told y'all, there's been a cultural shift. The black matriarchal or the black dominated community, black female dominated community, or women, I should say, black women, they once were held in high regard as far as society and politics. But that's something that's now, or should I say, they used to go unchallenged. You see, they were the unchallenged source of authority and wisdom. And that's the way it used to be. But as the phrase goes, and as I've said so many times, Big Mama is dead. And that matriarchal figure who held the family together with wisdom, who was strength, nurturing, she's been replaced by a new generation of black women who prioritize independence, career, and personal success. But see, with that shift, something has been lost. See, Big Mama represented stability and sacrifice and a deep connection to family and community. She didn't try to compete with men. You see, she complimented men. Big Mama Big Mama wanted you to come home on time. She had that pot of greens ready, and you'll be there before before everybody else get there. So she knew how to control you, and she knew how to control men. You see, that didn't necessarily mean that Big Mama didn't have a little fight or spice with her, but she knew what she needed to do. She had a warm, inviting house, which was typically clean, and she knew how to treat men well, and that's how she was able to keep men around. So she complimented men. I don't mean running off telling them how handsome they are, compliment. I mean, she filled the cracks, you see? But see, today's black women often see themselves as competing with men. You see, they're striving to be just as powerful as men. They want to be just as successful. They want to be as independent as men. And while this has empowered women, it's also led to the breakdown in the traditional family structure and a growing disconnect between black men and black women. See, young black men are not just seeing the change in their homes, they're feeling it. They no longer see black women as the anchors of their society. And instead, they see them as competitors. They see them as critics. Look online. There's never been more. You don't see black women criticizing. You don't see any other group of women criticizing their men as much as black women criticize us. They're our critics. They're our competitors. And in some cases, there are obstacles. And these young brothers are watching how black women dominate conversations. Remember how Kevin Samuels used to have to tell these black women who are used to over talking black men to be quiet. You had a black woman who was interviewing Donald Trump telling, over talking the former. So you're dealing with a situation where brothers are seeing, and they're seeing everything. You see? Again, that reverence that they once had for women, these older women, it's been replaced by frustration and in some cases outright disdain. It's the truth. And this shift in Black culture, it's a crisis for the Black matriarchy. It's a crisis for Black women. You see? Because see, without the respect and admiration of that Black men once had, that power that Black women once wielded within the family and the community and in the politics governing the Black community is quickly eroding. See, Black men no longer look to their mothers and grandmothers and wives as central figures of their lives. You see, they're turning elsewhere for guidance. They're turning elsewhere for validation and leadership. And many are finding it in people like me, Coach Greg Adams. Who else? There's so many others that you guys listen to. You're not looking to your mom. You see other Black men who are willing to reach out and talk to you. And here we are. You see? So, you know, I understand mom's frustration, and it stems from Dr. Tia Son Johnson. That's right, of course. I understand mom's. I get why she's upset at her son's political leanings. But it's about control. She's raised him with a set of values and a worldview and political ideology, and she's expecting him to carry on. I used to say it like this: that Queen Mother Goddess simp chip is malfunctioning and it's stressing mom out. You see? Because he's now rejecting what she's imparted upon him. He's rejecting her version of how the world should be seen. He's rejecting her influence. He's rejecting her liberal politics. You see, he's rejecting her authority. He's seen too many flaws. He's seen the hypocrisy, the cracks in the foundation, and he wants something different. Again, the internet has exposed the secrets, and her son is no longer willing to blindly accept the authority of Black women, even his own mom. He's not the obedient son she hoped for, and she's thinking about she should have let him suffer. You see? He's an independent thinker like so many of you are. He questions everything, including the model of Black womanhood she's represented. And that's why she's so deeply bothered. It's not just about politics, it's about a loss of control, the erosion of respect, and the realization that her son is forging his own path, one that doesn't align with the narrative she built for him. Now, here's the thing. I want you to understand something, fam. I want you to really dig down deep and let's have this conversation. So, generally speaking, in our current social and educational environment, there's a troubling tendency to impose collective guilt on young men, especially when it comes to historical injustices like patriarchy, misogyny, and even racism. Okay? But let's be clear. This is not just misguided, it's counterproductive. See, when you treat boys and young men as if they're personally responsible for the wrongs of the past simply because they're boys or simply because they're male, you're setting yourselves up for failure. These boys aren't guilty of those historical crimes. And yet, the dominant society, and I'm talking about everybody, okay? The dominant society continue to push this narrative onto us as if we are the problem. And Black women do it too to Black men. They swear up and down that every grandma was savagely abused by the man, you see? And so what do you expect is gonna happen? Instead of encouraging them to empathize and engage constructively, this approach towards young men, it makes them feel attacked and unfairly judged. And more dangerously, it pushes them toward more extreme political positions. Is it any wonder why so many young men feel drawn to the far right? And in our case, you got so many Black men who've been pushed and told we're not good enough. We just gonna go ahead and flow on over to the Republican Party. who openly rejects progressive ideologies that they perceived are vilifying them. So this isn't about fostering understanding or progress. It's about creating a backlash. When you constantly tell young men that they are the problem, you're essentially pushing them into a corner. And when people are pushed into a corner, they fight back. And in this case, that fight manifests as a rejection of progressive or liberal values and a full embrace of populist or conservative figures who oppose the very forces the young men feel are attacking them. So what you see is the radicalization of young men, and it's happening right in front of us. And it starts in our schools. Consider young boys who come home feeling blamed simply because they're men or simply because they're males. They aren't responsible for systematic issues. They're just little boys. But when school focuses on topics like toxic masculinity in a way that generalizes all men as part of the problem, it leaves boys feeling like they're under attack. Instead of nurturing them into responsible, engaged citizens, we're pushing them away with blankets of accusation. Shout out to my man, Urban Eagle. And let's not mince words. This is political self-deletion. If you push an entire demographic into a corner, they will retaliate, and they're going to do so by aligning with people like Trump. And whatever is coming down the road that's worse than him, because it's going to get worse before it gets any better. Just like the liberals went too far left to the extreme, you about to have the Republicans go far, far right. See, young men see Donald Trump as someone who defends them from the relentless criticism of their gender and someone who pushes back against the tide of this progressive political correctness. And why wouldn't they? We've left these young boys with no other option but to fight for their own sense of identity. The problem goes deeper than just resentment. It leads to conservative radicalization. You got young men, especially those in these liberal environments, who are increasingly rejecting progressive discussions around gender and race. They don't even want to hear it. And instead of engaging with these ideas thoughtfully, they just retreat into a defensive, reactionary stance, and they turn to political figures who flatly reject their progressive ideals because to them, it's a matter of survival. And they're being told that their gender makes them complicit in historical wrongs, so they reject the narrative entirely. And the result is a cycle of alienation and polarization. Young men feeling blamed and marginalized turn their backs on progressive politics altogether and align with the conservative and far-right conservative views that promise to protect them from the perceived attack. Let's be honest. This outcome has been inevitable. As long as we continue down the path of assigning collective guilt to men, it's going to get worse. We need to recognize the damage we're doing. We can't expect to build a better future by alienating an entire generation of men who are then expected to build and maintain and defend these nations. That's not going to happen. They'd rather see it burn. If we want progress, we need to find ways to engage these young men, not isolate. And I'm talking about all young men. Okay? We don't need to blame them. We don't need to set them off in the corner or force them to feel like they need to isolate themselves for things that they had no hand in creating. Otherwise, the backlash will continue, and we'll be left wondering how we lost civilization in the first place. Now, generally, that's what white men are dealing with right now. Now, the question that we have to ask ourselves is, where my brothers at? How has society pushed black men and boys into a corner? Okay, so over the past 60 years, young black men and boys have been systematically pushed into a corner by society, even by our own communities. We're repeatedly told that we're no good or we're destined to fail. And this narrative it's not just harmful, it's toxic. It traps black boys in a cycle of low expectation and internalized defeat, and it's become pervasive that even those who claim to support us, right, they oftentimes enforce these damaging beliefs. Society has long portrayed young black men as inherently criminal, uneducated, and violent. And turn on the news, and what do you see? Black men are often the face of the crime reports, underachievement and failure. Even we don't have nothing to do with it. But see, this narrative is so embedded in the collective consciousness that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Young black men or young black boys are raised hearing that they'll never amount to anything, that they're likely to end up in prison or dead, or eventually many start to believe it. You see? And this kind of messaging isn't just coming from the media or the law enforcement. It's echoed in our homes and in our communities. Let's look at the criminal justice system. From a young age, black boys are disproportionately targeted by school discipline policies and fed directly into the school to prison pipeline. They have studies that show that black students, particularly black boys, are more likely to be suspended, expelled, or arrested for very small, very minor infractions compared to their white counterparts. Society labels us as troublemakers. I just call y'all the bad guy because I'm the bad guy. But society labels us as the bad guy, and they do it from the start. And that's what mom doesn't understand. That's what this black mom doesn't understand. You can shelter your son as much as you want, baby girl.
I went to law school with him his first day of kindergarten.
You can shelter him as much as you want to. But he's still stuck with that stigma of being a black man. He's not even given a chance to prove otherwise before he's stamped with the stigma of being problematic. But see, it's not just external factors that are pushing these young brothers into the corner. See, many black mothers, shaped by their own struggles and burdens of society, they've internalized the same harmful stereotypes. And whether intentionally or not, they pass those beliefs on to their son. What happened to this woman's baby daddy? She married another man. You see what I'm saying? I'm not knocking this lady. I'm just saying she's a brilliant woman, obviously. She's very concerned, good mom. We need more like that. But she asked the question. She doesn't understand why her son is voting for Trump. And I'm trying to help you all understand, because as I said earlier at the top of this show, I'm one of the only people that actively speaks with black men. I listen to them. I interact with them. We argue together. I cut them off just like Tariq Nasheed did. You see what I'm saying? I help them land their planes. But the bottom line is I've done the homework over the past 10 years. And I'm telling you what I know. See, for the past several decades, public discourse within the black community has seen countless instances where black women have openly criticized and even villainized black men. They talk about how black men are no good, how we aren't dependable fathers, how we're not contributing to the family or the community, and how we're generally just a disappointment. And when black boys grow up hearing this from their own mothers and community figures, the message is clear. You're destined to fail. And this criticism isn't just limited to personal relationships. It's being made public over and over and over again. Black men have been painted as absent fathers, lazy, violent, untrustworthy, okay? And it is in the media, in the music, in public discussions, within the black community, everywhere. And it's been done not for 6 years, for 60 years. The Black Power movement, the civil rights, and the cultural shifts that often focused on uplifting black women. But in many instances, this has come at the expense of black men. Black women are celebrated. We rightfully celebrate. They've done some great things, right? Their strength, their resilience, their achievements. But where does that leave black boys? Too often, the message that we hear as black men is that we are the problem. And that somehow we're weaker. We're the weakest part of the family or the community. And that we aren't living up to the legacy of the struggle and the success that black women embody. Keep in mind, there have been policies put in place by the Democrat Party over the past 60 years that have artificially uplifted black women and at the same time stripped away from black men. And so the result of this ongoing narrative has been devastating. Young black men feel unwanted, they feel unloved, they feel unsupported by both society and their own families. And it's no wonder that they turn to radical or extreme responses. They see no place for them. Not in the success story of Black America. They don't see anything for them in these progressive movements that claim to support black people, but often ignore and actually vilify black men. Look at the backlash. We getting blamed for the doggone Donald Trump winning already. And we vote just behind black women as we're the group of men that vote the most proportionally for the Democrat Party. So anyway, with all this being vilified, brothers grow up feeling cornered, and when someone is backed into a corner, they fight back or they give up. And a lot of brothers have given up, but a lot of brothers are fighting back. And see, this rejection manifests in various ways. Some young black men rebel by embracing negative stereotypes. Okay, just go ahead and embrace being the bad guy. I tell y'all that too. Okay. Unfortunately, some of that means some people take it too far and they turn to crime and violence because, I mean, you know, if society has already assigned you this role, why not play it? That's their thing. Other brothers, they withdraw entirely. They become apathetic and disconnected from society, and they believe that they've been written off. And you have a lot of that here. You got the incels here. You got the brothers who say, you know what, I'm not going to be an incel. I'm just going to withdraw from society by using my passport to really leave. You see? And then you got another group of brothers that have internalized hatred and despair that they carry, many of them carry as from childhood. And that leads to self-destructive behavior like substance abuse, depression, and even self-deletion. Look, for the past 60 years, the message has been clear. Black men are the problem, not the solution. You see? And the consequences are evident. Look at the number of black men incarcerated or have been unemployed, disconnected from their family structure. And these outcomes are not just a reflection of personal failings. They're a direct result of being pushed into a corner by a society that has continually told them they're worthless. And this goes beyond external forces of systematic oppression and all that. No, it's internal dynamics in the black community. We can't keep blaming the white man for this. Black men grow up watching black women rise in leadership and celebrate, who celebrate their independence, and who then turn around and publicly critique black men. They grow up hearing their mothers express disappointment in the men in their lives, whether it be their fathers, their grandfathers, their baby daddies, even them, and by extension, them. Because when you talk about a boy's dad and his granddad and his brother and every other man, that means you talk about him too. They see the popular media promoting images of strong black women while portraying black men as failures, criminals, or deadbeats, and lately effeminate. And the message is pervasive. It's damaging. It pushes young black men further into isolation and fuels the very behavior that society and even our own community criticize us for. So, you know, if we don't change the narrative, we're complicit in this ongoing destruction. And that's what you see these young brothers doing. Black boys and young men need to support. We need support. We need guidance for them, not to be treated like society's scapegoats. They need to see they're capable of greatness. They need to see that they're valued members of the community, and that their worth is not defined by the sins of the past or by stereotypes that have been placed on them. And until we address this deep-rooted belief, black men who have So much potential. But who are often pushed into the shadows are going to continue on this path. You're going to lose a generation. You see? So this political shift is this unseen. It's unseen in the past 60 years. You got 30% of black men, 30% of black Americans who are voting for Donald Trump. That's unexpected in this 2024 election. Nobody saw that coming. And it's young black men, it's the men under 45. And this dramatic challenge or this coincides with a long-standing narrative in the black community. It challenges that we're a guaranteed voting bloc for the Democrat Party. And the question is, why are these young black men turning to Trump in such unprecedented numbers? Huh? How dare they? Right? This unapologetic, brash man appeals to the brothers. He stands to destroy the things that have attacked us. So again, for many black women, the rising number of black men voting Republican, it represents a crisis. This isn't just a political shift. It threatens a long-standing dynamic that for decades allowed black women to hold control over the black community. And again, as I said, it's bolstered by policies and perks of the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party has played a calculated game of divide and conquer. Y'all type divide and conquer in the chat room. They played divide and conquer amongst black women, creating an artificial divide where black women have been uplifted and given certain privileges while black men have been purposely excluded. And this divide is now being exposed for, and for many black women, the potential loss of power is alarming. It's alarming. For decades, policies like welfare, affirmative action disproportionately benefited black men, black women over black men. Welfare programs designed in ways that often exclude men from the house. And that created an environment where a single mother is rewarded with financial support while a black father is pushed out. Shout out to my man, Gloria Sabry. Welfare in particular, it became a tool to elevate black women to positions of relative independence at the cost of the family. Well, what's the result? You're not going to make your woman choose between this money coming from the government and feeding your children and you, so you out. These policies purposely were designed to separate the black family. And so you got many black men who were forced out of the homes or marginalized within the families, and it contributed to a cycle of absenteeism and disenfranchisement. This wasn't how we were right out of slavery. Black men walked around the South after we were freed in 1865, 1866. You had brothers walking from Arkansas to Oklahoma to Louisiana, Mississippi, looking for their families on those old plantations. We loved our family. We were the most married group of people all the way up until the 1955 when these policies went into place. You think welfare is good? You think affirmative action was good? That favored black women, particularly in education and employment opportunities. She's a double minority. And so they would hire her, they would give her an education, give her scholarships, let her into school. And what did that do for the black man? He got none of that. Black women have been some of the biggest beneficiaries of these policies, securing positions in school, corporations, government institutions, while black men face higher barriers. Shout out to West Side of Dawes. Thank you so much for your membership. Numbers don't lie. Black women outpace black men in college graduation rates, job placement, and promotion. And this has created a matriarchal structure where black women, buoyed by these advantages given to them by the Democrats purposely to separate us, they've gained significant control over the household and the communities. Because money talks and BS walks. And if the black women got the money, guess what? That left black men struggling to catch up. So the Democratic Party has nurtured and promoted this dynamic, providing black women with privileges and incentives while black men have been largely left out. And for decades, black women have been the most loyal voting bloc for the Democratic Party. And the party has repaid that loyalty by empowering them through policies and maintaining this division. And the Democrat Party has thrived on the notion that black men and black women should remain separate. Keep them down, keep us up. Just giving black women more tangibles while marginalizing black men, whether it's through disproportionate criminal and justice policies or limited access to mobility. I would remind you all that it was Bill Clinton that signed the 1994 crack bill into law, which came the 1995 crime bill. He signed that, written by Joe Biden. Shout out to Michael J. They did that. They had to do something with these excess black men. Let's put them in jail. Heaven forbid we give them the same level of education and opportunity we do black women. Oh no, we just gonna put them in jail. And now, this young generation recognizing what's happened, you got 30% of these black folks led by these young black men shifting towards Trump in the Republican Party. And so now you have the power structure within the black community beginning to crack. See, without the Democrat Party's policies and perks and privileges, the black matriarchy begins to lose its grip. If black men are no longer beholden to the Democrat Party, okay, and its promises, they're going to start asserting themselves. These brothers are going to start disrupting these long-standing dynamic that has existed between black men and black women in the political arenas. And for many black women, this shift means a loss of control. You got the Democratic Party. They've empowered. They've created a system. Okay? This is what they're doing. You see? They were able to rise independent of black men. We didn't say anything. But same time marginalizing us. So now what you see happening is a structure being dismantled. A structure that has existed for decades, and it has shaped the black community. And as more young black men shift away from the Democrat policies and question the benefits of these systems, the balance of power within the community, everything's going to change. See, without these policies that have artificially propped up black women are now going to have to face a future where their political influence and social control has been diminished. This is a real crisis. This is a reckoning of consequences, decades of division, where the empowerment of one group came at the expenses of other. And that's been the story of the black. You think this war of the sexes is just something that happened automatically, generically? No. This was fostered and catered. This is all part of the major plan. Now, I want to take the opportunity to give a shout out to everybody who contributed to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. Big up to all my guys who are here. Okay? We're going to start from the bottom. We're going to give a big shout out. Always learning something. Shout out to Michael J. Thank you so much. Website at dusk. Good looking out. Welcome to the new membership. Who we got? It's time for mom to join me in the back seat. 60 plus. Yeah, man. And let me say something. Real black women who recognize that there is no black community without strong black men, they appreciate this. They're happy. A lot of black women are very happy that black men are standing up. So shout out to all you sisters that recognize that you need your men. You need strong sons, strong fathers, strong husbands, so we can have a strong community again. All right. So shout out to all you ladies out here who really understand these brothers standing up in their righteous indignation. Why is it always considered a problem when young black men becomes independent free thinker? Urban Eagle, I think I answered that question because they lose control, right? I think I clearly answered that question, and now they know, okay? And I'm telling them because I've spoken to you, and I've spoken to all you other black men, and I'm telling you, Hologram EMC says amazed that her son no longer believes in Santa. Shout out to R3250. Thank you so much for the super sticker. My man Ray Shard Smith. I love my mama to life, and she shamed she shamed you for listening to David Sterling. LOL. Her words. So to Lord Trump and Breakfast Club. Hey man, you know, mom is gonna have to go up and get over it. They tell all your mothers that Uncle D said. Tell them that their baby brother said they're gonna have to grow up. Tell them all. Uncle D said you're gonna have to grow up. Time for you ladies to grow up. All right. Who else would Hootsie said the mayor has come to the rude awakening that her stallion has rejected being broken. He's following the example of another stallion. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Shout out to you, bro. Appreciate you for that. Who else we got? Barry Little. Black male independence, accept no substitutes. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Who else we got? Hootsie Us, Uncle D. This sounds like when raising a simp goes wrong. Right. Yeah, that's another way to put it too. She thought she had him under control. He was going to be the perfect little simp for another sister, and he just said, nah. She should applaud her son's independence and agency. Yes, she should, but she can't do that, man. You know, this is an uprising in the slave quarters. Showing some love to donate towards Uncle D. Fresh lineup. Fun. I know, man. I know. I got to get this. I've been struggling for the past 2 weeks with this hairline. I got a bad haircut, man. I can't be going to them drunk barbers no more. But good looking out, Alexander. Thank you so much. The Uncle D hairline fun. Who else we got? Logical hits. These boomers with the rent on mentality. Now that's an X generation woman, bro. She's Generation X because her son is 24. So she probably had him about 18, 19. So she's Generation X. You see, but it all plays the same. You'll notice that a lot of the beef going on online is Generation X. It's not the boomers. It's not the millennials. It's Generation X. But anyway, shout out to you. Who else we got here? My man Nuruddin, FDNY guy, 1677. I have it for my TWIC cards because I have hazmat on my CDL, but brothers can get it without a CDL application. It's easy, quick. Thank you so much, bro. I appreciate you. Maceo Dingles, 999. Thank you so much, fam. My boomer parents feel the same way as well as many friends. They don't get it. The harder they push, the more I'm certain about my decision. I voted early in PA for a Republican for the first time in my life. Hey, man, that's just black men getting back to their roots. Shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you so much. Also, big shout out to BB. He says, sounds like she wants more of a son husband and doesn't like it. Yeah, shout out to Dr. Tia San Johnson. Yeah, man, it's about control, like I was telling you guys, and they really don't know what to do at this point. Like, what do you do with this situation where you have all these young men, all these young black men literally rebelling? You know, it's nothing really they can do about it. They don't know what to do about it. It's never happened before. They thought they were going to have us beholden forever. But it didn't. The brothers ain't, we're not doing it. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to you, and shout out to Nuruddin FDNY 1670. So if you guys have the conclave in New York City, my email is Nuruddin 778yahoo.com. I'll be happy to answer any questions brothers right have. Okay, thanks, bro. I appreciate that. Rich Turner, black women are given an opportunity to lead and they fail miserably. The boys can't read or sexually open, socially awkward, and sometimes violent. We got it from here. What a wonderful day in the planet of the apes. Boy, you something else. Shout out to Rich Turner. Good looking out. Quid pro quo, black men, it is imperative that we bring the heat. Our youth are freezing to death. Yeah, man, good looking out, fam. That's a great thought. TIQS, Uncle D, daily tuition. Thank you so much, brother. Nuruddin, FDNY guy, 1677. Dennis, I also have some study guides if brothers want to get their commercial driver's license. Also, because you never know where life is going to take you, also you can become quick readers also. Okay, bro, good looking at everybody's seeing that, so that's cool. Also, Elevated Engineer 88. That sounds eerily similar to how white supremacists think. Good looking out. I know, right? Alpha mother and their thumb. Nuruddin, FDNY 1677. If brothers need help filling out the online application, which takes 5.5 minutes, then they can go to a fingerprint center near them. Okay, good looking out, brother. Brother's talking about CDLs. It's also used for dock workers and poor workers. The work at the seaport, it doesn't cost much, $125, and you also need a CDL to get it. Okay, good looking out, bro. Appreciate you. Nuridan, FDNY acronym TWIC can stand for Transportation Work Identification Credentials. It's federal credential for people with commercial driver's license with hazmats and doors. I have info. All right, good looking out, Brand. Appreciate you. Jamal Smith, thank you for the $10. Logic hits because I'm a grown-ass man now, Mom. That's why Dad's a simp. You don't run men. Good looking out, Logical Hit. And big shout out to ATL Snap Rider. Thank you so much for that. Let me give you a rock and roll. Thank you so much, bro. I appreciate that. ATL Snap Rider. Yeah, bro. Good looking out. All right. So anyway, let's get on to Nuridan, FDNY guy, 1677. Hey, Dennis, I saw the video of the conclave that you guys did in Houston. If you all decide to have a conclave in New York City, let me know. I can help them with the info on how to get TWIC cards. Okay, good looking out, bro. Appreciate you. Alpha Phone Richardson, thank you for the $2. LJ, what's good in the chat? Yeah, Urban Eagle, good looking out. And also Tevin King, thank you so much, fam. And one more came through. Who we got down here? They say they want leaders. We're leading off the plantation. Yes, we are. Shout out to everybody who contributed to the Cash App. Now look. Yeah. So look here, man. All right. What are we talking about tonight? This poor lady right here, bless her heart. Look at this sweet little lady right here. She cute too. I know she keep a man. Look at her. She cute. Look at her.
Black male who is of voting age. I desperately need you to watch this video. If you're not, you can keep scrolling. But if you are, I need you to watch this video and I need your advice. I am a mother of a 24-year-old handsome black male.
Yes, baby girl.
Who lives down the south. I live up north, but he grew up in a very, you can call it liberal household. My household has always, including my husband, he grew up with a man in the household, a male role model. Both of us are educated.
Not his daddy.
We've always advocated and been activists for the rights of marginalized and oppressed people, to include people of black, brown, Muslim, Asian, people with disabilities, LGBTQIA, etc., etc., etc. We've talked about rights as we have a nonprofit. We do lots of things for the community that supports the politics and policies of Vice President Kamala Harris. I even remember the day that Barack Obama won the election in 2008, and my son was 8 years old.
Yes, Lord.
And the very next day, he got up and put on a suit and tie. He wanted to wear that to school because he saw himself in that moment that he could be the president of the United States. However, in the past several months, he has been giving me strong indications, although he has not said it out loud, that he wants to vote for former President Donald Trump in this election.
Woo!
Black male.
Donald Trump took a son from her. Donald Trump has took a son from her and she can't understand why. Well, brothers, and that to that beautiful young lady, let's be brutally honest. This is your new reality, black woman. For decades and decades, you traded in your men for crumbs from the Democratic table. You took handouts, the welfare, the affirmative action, the empowerment the Democrats dangled before you, and in return, you proclaimed to the world that you were strong, independent, and didn't need a black man. You shouted it from the rooftops that no man could tell you what to do, that you could do it all by yourself. And sure, for a while, that worked. You had your degree, you had your career, and you had your autonomy. But in the process, you left behind your family, sister. You left behind your culture and your community. You abandoned the very foundation that made you who you are, and now you're left to suffer the consequences of that choice. See, you chose the route of rugged individualism. You rejected the values that once held our people together: faith, family, culture. You went all in. You went all in on the idea that you didn't need a man. And while you were building your empire of independence, you forgot that there's strength in unity, in community, and in holding on to the very men who fought for you. Now that artificial empowerment the Democrats gave you is fading. You're no longer politically important to them. You've served your purpose, and now they're moving on. And you know who they're turning to next? Maria. See, Maria still have her man. Maria still has her culture. Every day, new Marias are coming to this country reinforcing the values that have kept their families and communities intact for generations: faith, family, and loyalty. Sound familiar? See, Maria, she took the same goodies from the Democrats, but unlike you, my lovely brown-skinned African chocolate Nubian sisters, she didn't abandon what was most important. She never lost sight of the big picture. While you traded your community and your men for the illusion of independence, Maria held on tight to her family, her faith, and her culture. And now she's coming out better on the other side. That's what loyalty looks like. And that's a lesson that you missed. And guess what? Black men noticed. And that's why they're leaving in record numbers to go and date and marry Maria. See, y'all thought Becky was the biggest competition. Nah, you're wrong. Kevin Samuel told you that. It's Maria. And so she's the one raising your grandchildren now. And she's infusing in them a conservative set of values from Latin America that puts family and faith first. While you were focused on empty promises from the Democrat Party, these crumbs offered by this feckless government, Maria was building something real. So don't be surprised when your son comes home with Maria. Don't be shocked when your grandchildren are raised in a home that prioritizes family over career, faith over politics, and loyalty over individualism. And don't be surprised if your son begins to vote more conservatively, despite everything you thought you instilled in him, despite all the years of indoctrination and political ideology that no longer serves him. See, this shift is happening right before your eyes, my sister. And these young men are waking up, seeing through the empty promises and failed policies and making their own choices that prioritize family and faith and personal responsibility over these government handouts and political correctness. You may not have prepared for this, but this is the new reality that you must face. This is the reality that you created. You've lost your men because you forgot what truly matters. You turned your back on the very people and values that have held you up. And now you're facing the consequences. Kevin Samuels warned you, but you didn't listen. This is the truth. This is the hard reality. You didn't just lose your men, you lost your culture, you lost your family, and you lost your future. And now it's time to face that truth. The Democrats won't save you. They've moved on. The question is, will you realize what you've lost before it's too late? Because see, black men are already moving on. And many of them have moved on without you. Maria is going to get a few black men. There's no doubt about that. The statistics show that 20% of black men are now marrying outside of the black community, and they're not coming back. Once they're gone, they're gone. But it's still not too late, sisters. It's not too late to reverse this trend. There's still hope. But you got to start by making different choices. Don't vote for any party or policy that incentivizes the division between black men and black women. Choose unity over political handouts. Choose family and community over empty promises. You have to relearn what matters. That is family, culture, and loyalty, because the Democrats won't uplift you anymore. And the artificial empowerment that you relied on is disappearing. They're moving on. And if you don't adjust, you'll just be left behind. Left behind watching Maria reap the reward of holding on to what's most important. This is Uncle D. I love y'all. As I always say, I'm out.
Dennis Sperling Podcast. Hit the like button, subscribe.